And this was something that happened, I believe, yesterday or the day before. And it happens because people, a lot of times, are actually scared of success. Most people will never be successful just based on the sheer fact that they're actually scared of success. Whether that be whether friends think of them, or whether that be they don't think they deserve it, or whether that be they don't think they have the right business, acumen for it, whatever it may be. A lot of the times it's because they are actually scared of success. Um, how many of you, if you will, on a regular basis, are feeding your brain business mindset type books? How many of you read on a daily basis? I mean, how many of you time are you spending, if you will, time in the morning reading and time in the evening reading? This is something I do regardless, even where I'm at now, I still do the same thing. Okay. And this is something I've mentioned to Jason, but let's go ahead. Let me share with this little example. And I've already talked to Shane about this, but yesterday this post came in, right, and said, can anyone recommend a training course? Not that one, but there was trying to find it real quick. See if it's in here. Wasn't that one? Here we go. Looking for someone who can do an SEO audit on my website. So the guy's already telling you, hey, I'm looking for someone doing an SEO audit, and find the faults and put forward a proposal. They spend a lot of money on SEO. They're telling you all the mistakes, all his pains. So all of this stuff, right? He doesn't tell you don't DM him. And I literally tagged just a bunch of people: Margot, Matt, George, Nick, Shane, Craig, Currian. And what Shane did, and I was talking to him about this yesterday, he goes, his response to this was, so he does not tag the guy, which is what I've normally said to do. Tag the guy, tag him by going @ with his name. He just goes, hi, Sharon, I can do a video SEO audit for you. I'll analyze the website and I'll put a plan together on the maps. Send me a DM message. So the guy already said, hey, I want an audit and I want a proposal. So why are we telling him what we're going to do? It makes no sense. Here he asked for it, just do it. Give him the value, if you will. Give him the SEO audit, send over a proposal, send over a loan. Then to make it even worse, he wound up saying, okay, I'll analyze it. I'll give you a GMB. I'll put forth a plan and maps, 9 days. Message. Great. And the guy messages him back, says, sounds great, mate. I'll send you a PM. But the whole point behind here is the guy, a lot of times I think people are just absolutely terrified of just doing it. And Craig's given his little thing down here, but if someone's asking for an SEO audit, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to give you an SEO audit. I'm not going to say, hey, please DM me. I'm not going to make this person that's already trying to spend money with me to do another step. I'm going to go ahead and send him the Loom video. Don't make them have to chase you. Don't make them have to be running after you. The same thing why I do subscription-based SEOs. So someone signs up with me with SEO, they're going to be paying for it on subscription. If they don't let me know, then guess what? That subscription renews, because I don't want to chase people, right? I'm not going to say, hey, here's my calendar link, please book a call. Okay. If they're ready to sign up, I'm going to sell them in my DM. I want to sign them up on my DM messenger immediately. Okay. Some people it works for, a lot of people it actually works for. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to do a slideshow today's specifically just on money. It's on mindset. And a lot of this has to do with mindset. Subscription-based service is the only way to go. Don't make extra steps. Well, William says exactly. I don't want extra steps. I want to cause people to have to put in more work to give me money. Now, do I have to give refunds sometimes on subscriptions? Yes, because I don't want someone to be a pain in my ass, okay? But sometimes it's better if you have their subscription service base, because then I know how much money or cash flow I have coming in. Okay, this week as well, I did send out some emails and I did make some posts, okay, that I need y'all to fill out. And I want to go over that real quick too. So that's about tonight. If you want access to your support channel build out, you need to fill out this form this week. I know some of you already had sent it over a month ago. I need you to send this over to me now. It's going to be your email, your website link, your username, your password. It needs to be set up something like support.domain.com. Okay, that's step one. The next thing I need y'all to do, as well as I said on another one, how many of you don't want a closure? It's cool if you don't. It just helps you, right? And the next thing is how many of you, I sent out a form that says how many of you are ready for your VAs, right? I need to know how many of you are ready for that, because what's going to happen is once I send you your VAs and we got them set up on these support channels, they're going to have about a week and they're going to be ready and you're going to be taking on more overhead. Like I said, you'll have an agreement with them directly, not with me. So I need to know how many of them are, how many of you are actually ready for your VA. So that form that you got via email, you need to fill it out, okay? And you're going to find these inside agency war room private group, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is fill out this one, and the next one is down here as well. So, all right, and if you don't see it, just make a comment in the group, say, hey, I don't see the form, and I'll get that over to you. But make sure no one else is coming in. We are good to go. Okay, can we try a closure for only a percentage of the leads? No, I'm not doing this. Too much work. We just talked about not doing more work. It is, I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of, I mean, you imagine, okay, if 20 leads came in, all I want this little bit of leads coming in. So we don't want to do stuff like that. Same thing. I mean, give you another, that's a good example, but another example is, let's say you have 20 or 30 clients and one specific client wants you to do their post one way and everybody else does it a different way. You could do that if you want, but you're creating more work for yourself. You don't ever want to have to do that, especially if you want to scale something or grow. So that's just my opinion. I mean, you can do it either way you want, but that's a good example. So now let's go ahead and get started before we get anything else. Close out that window. Hope you guys are doing good. We're still in vanilla. Drop Jason off. We'll be coming back to Pagadian real soon too. So this week. All right, so today's topic is having a guilt-free mindset. Most of the time people have this guilt feeling about money or wealth or, you know, whatever, an abundance of anything. What happens when you have a guilt-free mindset? You're going to be thinking, and me and my wife, we go over this a lot, because I do not come from a place of guilt-free mindset for anything anymore. Used to. I was raised in poverty. Okay. I was raised, I don't know how many of you, a lot of you are from the States, some of you are not, but if you're from the States, you know what grits and eggs are and food stamps. Well, that was my childhood. I had grits and eggs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, we were in poverty. And the only reason we could have that is because of the sheer fact that we had food stamps. So my wife comes from poverty, lives in a third world country, if you will. So how many of you can see my screen? Give me a chat. Let me know. Hey, yeah, I can see your screen. Awesome. Yeah, Abe, that's not scalable. Okay, perfect. John and Abe, I both have calls with y'all later today, and I will see y'all later today. Shane, I believe I have a call with you later today as well. So, all right, you must get rid of this idea that there is only a limited amount of clients out there for your agency. The fact is, there are more than enough. There are more than plenty. I believe when I first started, how many people were attacking me, a lot of it seemed to be based in this mentality that maybe I was going to be stealing their clients away from them, or that there was only a certain amount of clients. Because I mean, it just seemed, the attacks and everything that I was getting, it was like an unbelievable amount. Because if you ask a lot of people that knew me, it's like I come up from nowhere in the SEO industry and blew up really fast. Okay. But that was because I was giving value and doing what I was teaching you guys with Facebook organic marketing. One of the key factors, and I hope you catch this, is you need to create a brand name. The way we're going to create a brand name is by putting out as much content as possible on a regular daily basis. So if you're not putting out content on a regular daily basis, you need to go ahead and start doing that, whether that's via YouTube, whether that's a Facebook group, whether that's content on your social wall. You need to be doing this. Okay. My mentor, that's the one thing he does not outsource, is his content. It's because no one's going to know your industry better than you. Not a VA, not someone you pay. It's just you. Okay. Now, once you make that content, you can have the VA, duplicate it and systemize it. But step one is you need to get rid of the idea that there's only this limited amount of clients. There's billions, okay, billions of clients out there, billions of businesses. Think of the following words and tell me in the chat box what comes to mind. Fair share. Fair share. It's a term a lot of times you'll hear thrown around. You tell me in the chat box, what does fair share mean? If I say, they have their fair share in life, or they have their fair share as far as food, you're at the dinner table, or they have a house or a car, they got their fair share. What is a fair share? And I'm not going to talk about politics, but you'll hear some party, everybody should have their fair share in life. Well, who determines what's fair share? Who determines if this person has too much and I don't have enough? They have what they deserve based on their labor or input. The problem is who determines what the fair share is. And this is where you get into people saying, well, everyone should have, these rights. No, absolutely not. It's based on how much work you put in. Okay. Next one. They're dangerous and treacherous words, and they're dangerous to your business. You need to get them out of your mouth if you ever catch yourself using them. And things like this, me and Jason talked about, even was like, he had to go back to South Africa by the time. So there are things people will say that I have to I'll literally catch them saying, I'm like, stop talking like that. Because these things are coming out of your heart. It's where your belief systems are, right? Like, for what is fair for you might not be fair for me. For example, you may think that having, T-bone steak every night is not cool, is a waste. Well, when you say something's a waste, I determine, okay, well, based upon what? Based upon the money you make, based upon the money someone else makes, based upon what? Okay. Waste to me does not mean that. If I say that, well, that's a waste, then I'm telling you you're a waste because maybe that person wants that. So let them have it. It's not based off of what you think is right. Agencies and people in general think if I have more of said such things, such as clients, money, food, houses, etc., then another person is in lack because of me. Is in lack because of me. You got to get rid of that mentality that if you have more, that someone else is lacking, because specifically because you have more clients, specifically because you got a bigger house, specifically because you have more food than somebody else, that they're in lack and somehow because you took it out of their mouth or out of their pocket. This is just utter crap, but it's things that actually it's very minute. And if you don't catch yourself doing it, and if you start becoming aware of it, then you're going to notice, you'll start noticing it more and more. First step I really think is becoming aware of the mindset that there actually exists, right? And John says a luxurious vacation is a perfect example. The summit's a waste of resources for someone who works hard and high stress, high pressure, right? It's a reward. What percentage of agencies think this way? I think a lot of them. I mean, quite honest, if I talk to a lot of agency owners, for example, it'd be like when you're first starting out, especially. I think it's when a lot of you are first starting out at 6 figures. To get beyond freelance, from self-employed, from a side hustle, from a freelancer to a self-employed, from self-employed to an actual business, you got to get rid of this mindset. For example, well, no one will pay those prices. Says who? Says who? I've raised my prices at least 4 or 5 times. Okay. But that came from that mindset too. Why? Most people, at least 90% or more, are frightened of success. It's just a fact. Another fact is most people prevent their own wealth or cash flow through their own cash impediments created by no one but themselves. Okay. What's an impediment? Example, me and Shane, like I'm talking about, you don't want to create more obstacles for people to have to give you their money. Don't create more obstacles, right? Yeah, John's pricing went from $500 to $3,000 for a base client. Lost half my clients, made more money than they had, and you had less BS. And I'll tell you that's a fact. Most people I charge more for, the ones I charge more never complain. The ones that actually pay the pennies and the peanuts complain the most. All right. I'm either personally creating my own. So we have Rank Fortress, and I'm also creating William Jones Marketing LLC. And that specific brand will be basically what you're doing, Mark and John. Only specific clients, very much higher. So maybe about 3,000 to 5,000 a client per month. So where they're doing one-on-one, not on the white label stuff. So very much the fact, John, when it comes to pricing. Okay. But most people prevent their own wealth or cash flow through creating impediments. It's like when you have someone in the DM, they're ready to buy it, send them the payment link with a contract there for them to sign and sign up then. The most I've ever sold inside a DM Messenger, DM is what Messenger is, okay? DM was about $110,000 contract, okay? $110,000 contract. Signed up, paid $30,000 up front. Okay. And if I had kept my mindset that I've had for years, I would never have had that. Why are dealing with this first and foremost? Without tearing down these walls, you cannot receive what is in store for your future. You've got to tear down these specific walls in your mindset first, okay? The proliferation of cash flow for yourself is an addition to you and your business, but is not a decrease for your competition or anyone for that matter. Just because you have more, just because, for example, just because I have the fact I have, you know, the amount of clients I have does not mean that my competition is over there suffering, right? Number one, this is not true. Number two, it doesn't matter. It's none of my business. If they suffer or not, that's on them. It has nothing to do with me, right? None of it. Okay, yeah, I'll have to do that for you, Abe. I have another student signed $110,000 deal, right? So let's go to the next, okay? Let's go ahead and stop this real quick. Next thing we need to have is an unmistakable belief in wealth. An unmistakable belief in wealth, right? If you don't associate with wealth or people of wealth, then now is the time to start. Start getting around people that have money. Start getting around people that are wealthy. Start getting around people that are where you want to be. If you're at 5 figures a month or 4 figures a month, whatever it is, get around people that are where you want to be. Start associating with them. You need to start hanging around people of affluence and wealth. There's another Dan Kennedy book I've read. It's about marketing to the affluent. Get the book, okay? Get the book. It's on marketing to the affluent. All right, you need to do that. Yeah, the you go up, but the competition goes down is only for the search position, correct? Yeah, if I don't do this, then the competition, whatever. Honestly, there's no competition outside of anyone but yourself for the most part. You know, for the most part, that's the only competition anyone has. So get started by hanging around people that are where you want to be. Right? That's the first thing we need to do. You need to start hanging out with people of affluence and wealth. Get around those people. Start chasing them. Hang out with them. The more you hang around people that have wealth, private planes, I know I spelled that wrong, I'm pretty sure, penthouses over the ocean, the more you realize there is no lack. There's just an illusion of lack. There's just an illusion that there's not enough clients. And another thing I would not do is stop chasing money. This is one of the things I told Jason. The more you chase the money, the more it will run away. All right? Poor people chase money. What I mean by that, and when you're poor, you're thinking, how am I going to pay my electric bill? How am I going to pay to put food on the table? Maybe you think this is wrong, even this mindset, but when you are thinking about that, you're chasing the money, and most of the time the money is running away from you, right? If you will simply start adding value to your skill set, to your abilities, you will never have lack. If you have lack, it's because you lack skills. And that's only to blame yourself, not to blame anybody else, not to blame the money, not to blame how many clients there are, nothing like that. You lack the ability to add value to someone. The reason why people stop doing business with you is because they don't see value. The reason why most of the time people will not sign up for a service is because they don't see the value in what you're offering. So get around those people and you're going to start realizing there's no lack. There's just an illusion. Okay. The more your mind becomes conscious of abundance, whether that is in money or clients or whatever, the more you'll start noticing and attracting your business what your mind is occupied with. So the more you start thinking about these things, the more you're going to attract it. All right. Same thing. Have you ever noticed where you say, man, a lot of people have, BMWs or black BMWs or this specific vehicle or this specific bike? The next thing you know, you start noticing that everybody has them. There's a lot more than I thought there was out there because my mind, or if you will, conscious, has become aware of the fact that they are out there. So therefore I start seeing it more and more. Not even the fact that there was a lot of them to begin with or less to begin with. This, I became aware of it. Therefore I started noticing it, quite honestly. Here's a life hack. Turn off the news, AKA the noise in your head. If it's noise to you, turn it off. Social media is noise. Listening to other people, noise. Sometimes family, a lot of times family is noise. Stop listening to the noise around you. Turn it off. Okay. If that means you got to stop hanging around certain people, you're going to stop hanging around them. If that means setting a specific, the first hour of the day, the last hour of the day to yourself and nobody else, so you can read, so you can pray, whatever it is, that's what you're going to have to do to turn off the noise. Because most of the time people have nothing but noise in their head. I've talked about this with Jason. And the fact is, you got so many people in your life that are not, they're not where you want to be. They're not the type of people you want to hang out with. They're not the type of people you want to, be around. And they're generally going to drag you down more than anything. They're not going to help you. They're not going to help you get where you want to be. So why are you spending as much time with them? Nick says value plus trust equals sales. Correct. And last but not least, your head is not a trash can. The more of the crap you can keep out, the better for yourself financially, mentally, spiritually. The more of that crap you can keep out, the better. The more of, even when people, I got to a point when people used to, I know you've been around for a while, Abe. I know Nick's been around for a while. George's been around for a while. If you've watched me, the channel, etc., you've seen, at one point you get a text and it's just like, oh my God, these people will never leave me alone. But it kind of gets to the point anymore where I don't respond to these people and I don't spend my time thinking about it. I had people would literally message me and DM me and literally go, oh my God, this person is talking about you again, or oh my God, this SEO is talking about you again. And now I've actually made a public notice in all the groups I was running. Said, if you have anything to say to me about what someone else is saying about me, please keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear about it. Abe saying, can you do a session on how to guard one's time in the future? Yes, actually, I will. I will be doing one on time management. One of the best books I've ever read on time management is by Dan Kennedy. Of course, Google Calendar, Abe, that's one, but here's one for you. I can give you one such example. And this is one of the life changers for me was this. How much is your time worth? How much is your time worth? Can any of you answer that question? So if you can't answer that question, you will be, if you can answer the question of how much is your time worth, you'll be able to say, okay, and allocate and save on your time and do proper time management. Because until you know how much your time is worth or valued at, you're not going to be able to do real time management. You're not going to be aware of it. But the first step in time management is becoming conscious of it. So, but Google Calendar is one thing. I've used that, but I use a bunch of others. And yes, I will be going over that. George and I set $500 hour. Bingo. So good. $225 for business engagement, $50 for off business hour engagements. I use it, but I'm talking about, yeah, time blocking and everything. Because Dan's a big one on that one. That's actually where I started getting with social media, where I was not responding to DMs. I'm not on it all the time. A lot of people think you're on it all the time. That really started occurring when I got really heavy into Dan Kennedy. Because up until then, I didn't. Up until then, you could get me as much as you want. I was freely available to everybody. And that might have been good to create a brand, but once you start having hundreds of people messaging you, it becomes a problem. Okay. That's pretty much it for the day. What I'll do another one on this week. Maybe I'll do another one on time management. We'll start with that. More than likely, it'll be next week, not this week. Abe, name of his book is Time Management. Time Management. This book, let me see if I could get it for you real quick. Manage Dan Kennedy. That way I can make sure I give y'all the right one. The No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs, ultimate no holds bar kick butt. Take no prisoners, guide to time, productivity, and sanity. The other one, if you don't have that book and you don't have the other one on employees, then you definitely need to get it. Those two books are ones I would tell you have to have. If you don't have, then, I don't know what you're doing, but give me 1 second and I'll get that book for you. Drop that link right here. So that way y'all could have it. There's the first one, and the next one is in employees. It's called Ruthless Management. So those two books are a must. If you're in this class, I would tell you those two books are a must. All right, guys, for those of you that I have calls with later today, let me go over this real quick to make sure. So I have one with you right after this, John, and then Abe, I have one in about 2 hours, or one in an hour and 15 with you. And Shane, I have one later with you today. Matt's not here, but I have one later with him. And then anybody else, I appreciate it. This will be uploaded later today, and I appreciate you guys. Awesome, Abe. Action Taker, you bought this a couple of weeks back. How do we book a call with you again? Calendly, my Calendly link. Same one. Let me pull that up for you, and I'll get that over to you. So I'll drop that in the chat here. And we'll definitely be talking a lot on time management. So there you go. All right, guys. You guys have a great day. You guys be blessed. And